Welcome back to 23 Years of Astrology with Marjorie. Today is day 22, and we're going to ask the question, does ancient wisdom still apply? So I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and I think a lot of people think about this question, whether or not ancient wisdom still applies. Some of my favorite things to think about and tools to use are those from wisdom traditions, astrology, yoga, Ayurveda, and there's many more. So I think that when we think about ancient wisdom, I notice or I've observed that sometimes there can be an affinity towards what has gone before and maybe thinking that it was better then than it is now. And I don't remember being around in ancient times, so I can't speak to that. But I do find it very interesting to think about. So when we think about wisdom, ancient or modern, um, they each have their own set of challenges. And I think that when we navigate this modern world, it can be incredibly helpful and useful to knock on the door of ancient traditions and be open and receptive to how they can inform us today and what we can glean from what's been shared across time and space. But we also have to hold into account that these traditions are rooted in very different times and a time when the resources that were available were very different. And the understanding of the universe and language, everything was incredibly different. So it's kind of fascinating to think about how they've been passed through time, but also there's a challenge embedded in there of navigating our modern world using some of these ancient techniques and modifying them so that they can still be useful, but also applicable and appropriate in times that we are living in and that we're navigating. And another piece of this that I really like to think about is that not all wisdom is ancient. There's also modern wisdom and wisdom that falls in between ancient and modern. I don't know what that's called. Neither. But I think sometimes we review the past and think back on all that had been discovered, but that lends to what we discover now and has certainly been building blocks, but we are also creatures that come to know wisdom in this modern world. So remembering that not all wisdom is ancient and some wisdom can be modern is something that I also like to think about. Um, and I was going to include a quote, but I forgot to include it in here. So I'm not going to include that. But I guess I'll leave you with thinking about for yourself, which of the ancient wisdom traditions do you carry within you? I know for myself, I'm a dedicated yogi and have been for some time, and deepening my yoga practice and studying ancient yoga texts and techniques, breath work and pranayama and Sanskrit words and all of these things that I consider ancient wisdom are definitely helpful and enrich my modern life. So I do feel like in many regards, this ancient wisdom does apply. But then I can see challenges when I study, for instance, ancient astrology, translating the usage of how you would interpret things in the ancient world to the modern world is, I feel like, can be kind of tricky sometimes because a lot of the ancient texts may say things that do not make sense to my modern mind. Um, but finding a way to make sense of them and apply them to modern day can be fun to think about, and it can also be like a good mental workout. And these wisdom traditions bridge us across time and space. And lastly, I like to think about the fact that our wisdom, this modern wisdom that we are coming to know in the present day, may someday be someone else's or our future selves ancient wisdom. So what are you going to do with that? What are you going to say? And what are you going to leave behind? Thanks for being here, as always. You can find me at marjoriecottrell.com. You can sign up for my email newsletter there. I don't send many, and I do have periodic book giveaways. My services include individual couples, family readings, astrology tutoring, and mentorship for students of ancient astrology. Gift certificates, private group events. I do workshops and retreats. My third annual retreat of the Lunar Collective in New Hope, Pennsylvania is coming up. I have 3 tickets left. And I also do online workshops. You can download my astrology workshop for creatives on my website at marjoriecottrell.com, and you can watch it today. If you do, please let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for being here. The next video is going to be my last video in the series. 23 days of astrology. I finally made it to day 23 after a very long time. That one is about there being room for everyone in the astrology space. I'm excited to close with that one and share my thoughts on that with you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my last video. Bye.